YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back. And we got wide receiver rankings today for the 2020 NFL season. Top 32. We're going 32 to 1, just like we did with the quarterbacks and running backs. If you haven't seen those, go check them out. We're going to keep on moving on. So we'll do tight ends next. And again, this is for the 2020 season. So basically predictions here, how these guys will play. Tough to pick only 32. A lot of really good receivers. Some good ones will be left off this list. Only pick 32 like we did for the other position groups and like we will do. Before we get started, please subscribe. Click that like button. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. A subscription to both of our channels would be much appreciated. Trying to reach 60K by week 1, so please help us out. Anybody that's a returning subscriber, really appreciate you very much. And follow that Twitter. Got polls. You guys voted for the best quarterback. Running back is going on right now. And at some point, maybe while you're listening to this video, the receiver polls will go up. Several receivers have a chance to win those polls there. And then check out our podcast. There's a link in the description comments for anything you might need. If you see this, please comment Washington Red Tails. It seems to be the favorite for everybody that for the Redskins to change their name to, and I'm on board for that as well. We've been talking about that on Twitter. So if you see this, comment Washington Red Tails. Try to get it trending here on YouTube. And we'd really appreciate that. The bottom part of, shouldn't really call it the bottom because there's a lot of good receivers even left off this list. But number 32, I got Robert Woods, and as good of a receiver he is, you see him at number 32. It just shows how good the receivers in the NFL are. Kind of an open field target. Was lacking in, I guess, the touchdown department last season, but he kind of did the dirty work in the middle of the field there. It seems like Cooper Kupp kind of solidifying that role as their best receiver. At 31, I got Terry McLaurin, which is obviously the best receiver on the Redskins, and a pretty darn good rookie season now, full-time. Maybe him and his Ohio State teammate, and now his Washington, whatever the name may be, teammates. So that duo could work out for a long time there. At 30, I got Calvin Ridley. Yeah, definitely expecting somewhat of a breakout season, even though he's already been solid. We expect a little more from Ridley, and I think we can get it this year. I really think, this is the year. The Falcons got to go all out here. I think they're really going to they always air the ball out, but I think they're really going to, they know they have to win on offense. They know that's the key, and they have a powerful offense, so I think they really air the ball out, splitting up between Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley. 29, DJ Chark had an amazing season last year, better than expected. A good sideline threat, a good deep ball threat, has the speed and the length, the strides. So very impressive, and I expect it to keep going, even though, question marks with Minshew, the quarterback, how will they play, for the Jaguars. So maybe that it's kind of a question mark for him, but he was so impressive last year. I got a rookie at 28. Some people don't like me ranking rookies, but if I didn't rank rookies, then this would be a 2019 rankings. We're moving past last year. We're on to this year. CeeDee Lamb was my number 1 receiver prospect in the class. He's an easy plug-and-play guy. You can give him screens, end-arounds. He's really good downfield, really good contested catch. And the Cowboys are going to throw the hell out of the ball this year. So CeeDee Lamb is going to get a ton of production even in his rookie year. It's going to be an easy guy to, just get in there and get the ball to for Dak Prescott. 27, DK Metcalf. Monster rookie season, really got going down the stretch. Nothing really surprising though. Did exactly what I thought he could do. He's my number 2 receiver in the class last year, and I expect to see what we kind of saw down the stretch. Some very solid play. Even the playoff game against the Eagles was absolutely ridiculous. So I think we continue to see more of that. Jarvis Landry at 26, even though he's maybe the number 2 receiver on the Browns, and maybe the overall talent of Jarvis Landry's game, and maybe better than number 26, but production-wise, how they'll play this year, I think there's some other guys that maybe will play a little better, given that he is maybe the number 2 receiver on the Browns, and they're going to have I shouldn't say run heavy, I almost should say running back heavy scheme. Running the ball to Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, and then even passing the ball to them. That's the kind of direction they will go to. So the receivers, may not get a ton of action, but they're going to make sure they still get their playmakers the ball. I got Brandon Cooks at 25. Obviously, need to stay healthy. If I can trust him to stay fully healthy the whole year, he would be shooting up from this ranking board to much better than 25. The deep speed and tracking is next level, obviously. The quickness as well. Big playability, and that could fit it right in with that Texans offense and Deshaun Watson. So really looking forward to, as long as he's healthy, as Cooks and Fuller, a guy that just missed this list, kind of in the same area there with Brandon Cooks. So kind of excited to see because those are some guys that really fit what the Texans are trying to do there. Next, group of guys. So I got A.J. Brown, number 24. It was my pick for Rookie of the Year last year, and he was just getting going. So that's pretty scary that he can continue to climb up this list. Let's see if he can continue that, because he really, caught fire there at one point. It's another easy target. You can give him the ball anywhere on the field. He's amazing after the catch. That's where a strong part of his game is. 23 is T.Y. Hilton. Always been a T.Y. Hilton fan. Kind of that underdog guy for a while. But then, last year, the injuries sneaking up on him, and they kind of try to put him in there. I remember they tried to finally bring him back. It was a primetime game against the Texans. You can see he definitely was not healthy. That was a brutal game for him. So you kind of worry, can he fully stay healthy? Is he the same T.Y. Hilton? If he's the same T.Y. Hilton, he's way better than 23. But, yeah, even though I'm a big fan, there are some, question marks for me still. 22 is Julian Edelman. Maybe his stock just boosted because they got Cam Newton. A better option to throw him the ball, even though, the question of is Cam Newton going to start week 1? I believe so, but it's up in the air. And no more Tom Brady, so Edelman does take a hit. Even though he's still playing at a pretty high level, maybe not getting any better, of course, but still up at number 22. Maybe a sleeper guy, N'Keal Harry, who I was very high on out of Arizona State. Was hurt for half the season and kind of got thrown in there. So, I think he could start to impress as well. So, got to look out for 21, Devontae Parker. Devontae Parker had a monster season last year. Sideline contested catcher. Maybe one of the better ones of last year. A monster season. And, based off last season, he was probably better than 21. But there are some really good receivers in the NFL. And a guy that, I just want to see him do it more. It was a guy that I liked out of Louisville. And I was very happy with his season last year. Give me more of that. Let's give me more. Give me some more. Some really good receivers right around, this part here. DJ Moore, another one that's continuing to get better. Very good down the sideline because of his speed, but makes his money after the catch as well. So he can continue to get better. Now he's got Teddy Bridgewater, and he's even got Robbie Anderson next to him. Some speed that can kind of get some separation from this speedster here. So DJ Moore, definitely a youngster to look out for. Cooper Kupp at 19. Cooper Kupp first half of last season looked like a top 10, maybe top 5 receiver. I mean, he was getting some monster production, middle of the field, downfield, a lot of, yards after the catch. So he's really getting better. Second half of the season, still good, obviously, but not as crazy as that monster first half. So hopefully we can see some more of that. I'm a big Tyler Boyd guy, always have been, really. He's at number 18, so he maybe I'm a little higher on him than most people. But he's another one that's continuing to get better every single year. He's kind of that new school type of slot receiver that can also play outside. I didn't have A.J. Green on this list because, you hate to say it, but you almost expect the guy to miss some games, and how much does he have left in his game? But, he was a top 5 receiver at one point, so that could be scary that could be coming out of him. But I also think they drafted T. Higgins, probably the closest guy type of receiver to A.J. Green for a reason. I think Tyler Boyd is easily their best receiver. He does more. He's continuing to get better. And here's the other thing. You had Joe Burrow, a better quarterback. I think Tyler Boyd is Joe Burrow's Justin Jefferson. Is that same style receiver. Now you got a polished NFL version that's getting better every single year. I am very excited for the production of Tyler Boyd this season, and he's getting better every step of the way. 17, Juju Smith-Schuster. We see him, way better than 17 2 years ago, and last year a little underwhelming, but still solid. But that was without Big Ben. Big Ben's back. Are we going to have that connection the full season? We're going to see. But Juju Smith-Schuster, a guy that it's tough to rank at 17 because if Big Ben stays healthy, I can see him. Us considering him a top 10. I think he was on his way to a top 10 receiver after that 2018 season. After that season, I'm like, this guy is borderline right now. I'm ready to put him in the top 10. So, mainly there being a lot of other good receivers. You got to start splitting hairs when there's this many good ones. So, maybe just a little more question marks, but we know he's definitely very solid. We're on to the big 16 here. Number 16, I got Courtland Sutton, who I was talking about on his way into the top 10. I was higher on Courtland Sutton out of SMU than anybody, so I'm so excited to see him improving that much. Was an absolute beast last year. Not quite top 10 yet. I think it was almost similar to what we were talking about the running backs at the Broncos too. It's kind of a good situation to have. Like why he's not in the top 10 yet is because I don't know if there's going to be much improvement production-wise as a player improvement, but production-wise because now they have Jerry Jeudy, who is going to get the ball a ton. A guy that just missed this list too as a rookie, because he's the guy that gets open, and you have KJ Hamler as well. You got 2 running backs to get the ball to, so maybe less targets possibly for Cortland Sutton, even though he's the perfect receiver for Drew Lock. But it's kind of a good situation to have. It's not really bad. So he's at 16. Tyler Lockett at 15. Obviously the big playability. You see those crazy throws that Russell Wilson has. It always seems that Lockett's on the other end of them, and even though they're crazy throws, they're not the easiest catches to make. Lockett will make those big plays, those crazy catches, but then here and there, if I have to nitpick, you'll have those drops where you're like, God, you don't expect him to drop that, So maybe that's what keeps him at 15 and not passing these other guys, but obviously a guy I think that's getting better every step of the way. Coming in the NFL, it's like, he's a solid receiver. This guy's really a weapon, a returner, but he's made him a name for himself. He's way more than that, and that's impressive. Allen Robinson at 14, the contested catcher, of course, and has been good with what was a pretty rough, I guess, quarterback situation in Chicago. Now they get Nick Foles. Definitely could be a lot better. I expect a lot of RPO, so I would actually watch out for a guy like Anthony Miller, who just missed his cut, who I was high out of Memphis. Actually could sneakily get more targets. Robinson's still going to be the better receiver for sure. That's why he's at 14. But yeah, it depends on if they want to run that quick offense like they will. Miller actually can get a ton of, Robinson probably get more yards, but Miller will probably get a lot of targets underneath and, slants, a lot of that. So that's something to watch out for. But Robinson's kind of always been, an underrated contested catcher. I think and why I say, everyone knows he's a good contested catcher. Why I say that, though, because he could actually be one of the better ones in football. Keenan Allen at 13. You know what you're going to get from Keenan Allen. You're going to get consistency. You're going to get great route running, can play in the slot, can play outside, solid after the catch as well. Why he can't be top 10 is because the quarterback situation, but he's still at 13. A little bit of a quarterback change there, obviously being used to Phillip Rivers. So, and that's, Mike Williams, who I think talent-wise is definitely top 32. But, yeah, I guess the quarterback situation and it was weird. Every time they threw the ball up to Mike Williams last year, he made the play, but they kind of just didn't do it a lot at times. But, so that's kind of the tough part about ranking the Chargers guys here. But Keenan Allen, you still know what you're going to get from him, Moving on, we got Adam Thielen at number 12. Now kind of that lead guy for the Vikings. Maybe. I got another rookie that a lot of rookies just missed the cut. Justin Jefferson. I actually can see Justin Jefferson getting more target, maybe more receptions than Adam Thielen. I still expect Adam Thielen to get more of the yards, though. And he's kind of got to be that big play guy down the sideline with missing Diggs now. So Thielen's got a big role to take over. Last year, he was beat up quite a bit. He was a little hurt, and when he was kind of back into it, he just didn't look like – he still looked good, but he didn't look like himself. The Saints game coming up clutch at the end, that was big. But is he – you still expect him to be as good as he was maybe a year ago, but hopefully he stays healthy because last year was kind of a nagging injury that he just couldn't quite get over. They tried to get him back. They couldn't. 11, I got Odell Beckham Jr., and if you've been with us for a while, I've never really been an Odell guy. Very talented, extremely talented, but we haven't really seen that extreme, maybe elite talent in quite a few years, honestly. We haven't seen – I know it's still in him. I know he still has it in him, but – and the talent itself is definitely top 10. It's definitely top 10. But I talked about it with Jarvis Landry. The Browns are going to be a running back first team, whether it's pounding the ball, Nick Chubb mainly, but Kareem Hunt, and then throwing the ball to the backs. We might see two of them out there at once. They're going to, it's fancy from the Vikings. You look at Diggs wasn't happy because they were focusing on the running backs a little much. Every time they went to Diggs, he made a big play, so that's why he was unhappy. So I hope they kind of distribute to the receivers quite a bit. So. And then since we haven't seen the great, we've seen a very good, but not the great Odell Beckham in a few years, that's why he's just outside the top 10. But the talent itself, I couldn't drop it much more. Kenny Golladay, I've been saying for years, this guy's going to enter the top 10 one day, and I got it right now. I got it right now. This guy I was very high on. I'm very happy about this one because this is one of my big time sleepers out of Northern Illinois. I was hyping this guy up. The total package type of receiver, and he's shown that. I think one of the better contested catchers, but he's so good after the catch too. I think he's underrated in the speed department. The big reason, Stafford has those big plays, big playability downfield. So I'm happy to say I have Golladay entering the top 10 now. The Detroit Lions receiver. I got Amari Cooper at number 9. And this is riding on Amari Cooper staying on the damn field because I love Amari Cooper's game so much. I mean, the toe taps. We've seen the contested catches, the big playability downfield. I mean, you love it. Maybe even better than 9, the talent there. But Sometimes he just comes off the field, he disappears. It's a very minor. You don't really hear what the injury is, and he just stays off the field for the entire fourth quarter, and that's something I dislike so much. But he got his money now. He got his money. They got Mike McCarthy. They're really excited, the Cowboys going forward, so I think that can motivate him to, maybe it was a thing, he wants to make sure he doesn't ruin his future It definitely could have been that, whether you agree with it or not, that wouldn't be me out there. But whether you agree with it or not, you kind of can understand it for a bit, for a little bit at least, because if he turns a minor injury to a major injury by forcing out there, he won't get the money that he just got, that bank that he just got. So you can understand it in a way. But that's kind of the good thing. It could have just been that, which I'm kind of banking on here. So I expect him full time on the field this year, which results in a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL, of course. We're moving on. Number 8, I got Mike Evans, another big-time contested catcher. Really excited to see him with Tom Brady. Because Tom Brady always had, the only contested catcher he had was kind of Gronk. I mean, he's had some other ones, but the big-time contested catcher was Gronk, and he still has Gronk now. But now he's got a receiver version of that, so that's going to be fantastic. Going to divide those type of plays. Evans, Gronk, that's going to be fantastic. And then we'll kind of circle back to the Bucs receivers in general. I got Davante Adams at 7. Hopefully Davante Adams can play every single game this year. The Packers, kind of what you forget though. The Packers offense was, even though they made the NFC Championship game, a little underwhelming, I guess. But they were missing Davante Adams for some time there. So put him back in there. He carries that receiver group. A do-it-all receiver. I think very underrated in the route running department. I think it's more of understanding coverages. I think he understands coverages so well. That's step one for him. And then you develop the routes based on that, based on what you know. I feel like he knows coverages as he's at the line of scrimmage. It's something a lot of good receivers are like that, but something I really noticed about Davante Adams. Chris Godwin at number 6. Yeah, Mike Evans might be known as the better Bucs receiver, for several years, and maybe even more talented still, right now. But Chris Godwin, improvement is an understatement from last year. Insane. And he was kind of Bruce Arians' slot receiver, that new school slot receiver that can also play outside, a bigger body guy. Obviously with the speed though, and that is Tom Brady's type of guy right here. This is type of receiver and some. I don't know if he's had a guy. I know he's had some really good receivers, but Chris Godwin in that role for Tom Brady is just so easy. It's such an easy target. This guy is going to get a ton of catches. Even though maybe that's why they're not top 5, they have the talent. They're going to be splitting Godwin, Evans, and Gronk, but that shows how good they are, that they're 6 and 8, that they're going to be splitting all this. But it's a very likable and easy target for Tom Brady. I got Stephon Diggs at number 5, maybe a little bold because he hasn't really been number 5 yet, but pretty close. It seems like he's getting more explosive, better at the route running department every single year. I'd argue maybe the best route runner in football. I think there's a lot of guys that can have the same routes as him, but I think the speed at which he does it at is ridiculous. But now you plug him in the Bills system, and I think it's perfect with Josh Allen. The Vikings, every time they threw the ball downfield to Diggs, Cousins was pretty accurate to him. It was a big play, but their main game was run the ball, throw the ball to the backs. They could have and should have went to Diggs more. Josh Allen has that crazy arm strength. They want to be able to bring that out as they develop him, and that is why they traded so much for Diggs, because this is the perfect guy. I mean, this was the number 1 deep ball receiver in football last year. So I think it's just such a perfect fit, perfect situation. They absolutely know they have to get this guy the ball downfield, or just get the guy the ball in general, to make him happy and to win games. And they're going to do that. They're not just going to sit around and trade all that much to not do that. So I'm expecting a big year from Stephon Diggs, and I still think he has upside. So that's why I have him as a top 5 receiver. I hope the drama just settles down just a little bit. He's not quite on the Odell Beckham level, but I hope it settles down a little bit. But I think it will, obviously. Top 4, the big 4 here. I got Tyreek Hill at number 4. Speed kills in today's NFL, and this is a great example, but he's more than that. For his size, the contested catch ability is ridiculous. Reading coverages, you see him in that big 3rd and long in the Super Bowl last year, understanding that he's kind of the main option there to flood the side there in the cover 3. Just perfect reading where the safety's at, try to confuse them, making the safety and corner just pick who's going to try to cover who. Plays like that come up so much, and a guy that you can get the ball anywhere on the field. Kind of the bailout guy. I always consider the bailout guys, and they still are, guys like Mike Evans, guys like Michael Thomas, DeAndre Hopkins. These are the bailout guys, because if you pretty much have to throw the ball up, it's one of those situations. You're going to throw it to the big body guy that can go catch the ball. You're not in a situation where you can throw it away. You have to try to get the first down, the touchdown, whatever it may be. It's always been those guys. Tyreek Hill is one of those guys at a way smaller size because of his speed. I think his knowledge, just knowing where the ball's at, know how to track the ball, know when to jump to beat the corner, the safety, whatever it may be. So I think those things are kind of underrated. Everyone looks at the speed, the big playability, but I think there's a lot more than that. And then number three, the top three is pretty obvious. I feel like if you don't have this top three, I don't want to say you're wrong, but pretty close. Not in this order. I mean, I'm saying if you don't have the top three in general. Julio Jones, it's tough. 2, 3, I think, I was pretty set on my number one. I have been for a while, but 2, 3, I could flip these either way. I think they're going to, spread the ball out to Calvin Ridley, a little more. I even think Laquan Treadwell could be a pretty solid. I thought he was playing pretty well last year, even though he's kind of been disappointing. So I think that's a good fit there. So they might split the ball around a little bit, but Julio's an absolute monster. I still think maybe my favorite NFL catch of all time. It's not the best NFL catch of all time, but my favorite one still might be Julio Jones snatching the ball from Malcolm Butler, a few years ago. I still, for some reason, that is one of my favorite catches ever. So love me some Julio Jones. DeAndre Hopkins with the Cardinals. They're going to throw the ball a ton. We know that. That's why they got a big number one. He's going to get a lot of production, a lot of reps, a lot of targets here, and that is big for him. And he's been the number one receiver, and in knowing that, it's tough not to have him at one. But even though that you can order the top three, really, I'm not going to argue with you too much if you order it really anyway. But I got to go Michael Thomas. So we're going forward here. This is for the 2020 season. I don't know if Hopkins is really going to get better as a receiver. He's already elite. Julio Jones, same thing. Michael Thomas is still getting better every step of the way. No one expected him to be this good. We all knew he'd be pretty good. And he came in. He's that contested catcher, big body receiver. It's going to control the sideline. And even though he was pretty strong, I feel like he got stronger, so that was impressive. But everyone can get better in every part of the game, but we didn't really expect him to get this much better with his. I think his footwork is ridiculous. I think that's where he's underrated. One of the better footwork masters in football. Such quicker feet than you think. Great route runner. That's what impresses me. His ability to get better in every category and adding more to his game. He's not just that Ohio State contested catcher. He's way more than that, and he's added that, and that's the impressive part here. So he can actually add, and that's kind of what splits up Michael Thomas, DeAndre Hopkins, Julio Jones. I expect Michael Thomas to actually get better, which is ridiculous. Hopkins, Julio Jones, maybe they can have a little more in terms of stats. Maybe we all know they're going to be it's interesting to see how Hopkins does on a new team, but we all know they're going to be in the same kind of boat, the same areas. So that's why, to me, I didn't have to think too much. Michael Thomas, number one. For me, a lot of good receivers left off this list. We talked about the Cardinals. Larry Fitzgerald is tough for me, leaving him off this list. Hollywood Brown just missed the cut. Want to see him stay healthy. Has some minor injuries as well that could come up. Maybe due to his size. Emmanuel Sanders is with the Saints now. I want to see more from him. He needs to stay on the field as well. Another guy just missed the cut. A lot of the rookies, Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, Justin Jefferson, Jalen Reagor, I think will be fired for the Eagles. Of course, a couple of Alshon Jeffrey, a lot of guys like that are good enough to be a top 32 receiver. It's just got to pick 32 here. So it's tough. It's tough, and I know I'll get bashed in the comments, but it's part of it. We're gonna be all right. And I mentioned, I think Will Fuller I like a lot. He could make it if he's healthy. So let me know your thoughts, your rankings in the comments. Smash that like button. Subscribe to both of our channels. Would really appreciate that. And then follow that Twitter. It's a must follow over there. If you like the NFL, if you like the Goat House, both, either one, go follow it. Would really appreciate it. That's going to do it for this one, though. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Goodbye.